Want to watch football without the restrictions of blackouts or cable? Check out expressvpn.com to help you get access to all the live games. Sign up today using the link in the description to get 3 free months. Kia ora, brothers. It's the director. Chargers fans, you know what? It's not the director. It's GM director today, man. We got the threads because we are 100% serious about building this Chargers team up to postseason, nay, Super Bowl contention. And this is going to be a big video going over that, man. I did some extra work as far as the visuals to help get my vision across. We are going to be rebuilding this team from the ground up. I think rebuild's the wrong word. We're going to be, bringing in the reinforcements. The cavalry has arrived to transform this team into a Super Bowl contender. And again, this season's so special because of the amount of money that we have to spend, more than I have ever seen as a Chargers fan. I intend to take full advantage of that fact, and it starts in free agency. So in this video, we're going to be loading up this team as best we can in free agency before the NFL draft to make sure we get the best out of the draft and as well as free agency to beef up this team in the offseason. Now, of course, you guys can see the team needs right there. We got to fix this run defense. We got to make some tough decisions when it comes to our own free agents. We have to offer ourselves flexibility in the draft ultimately. If we go into the draft with defensive tackle being the biggest need on the board, we might be reaching for guys. So, honestly, we definitely have to make sure we handle a lot of this beforehand. We need to spend big money and get Justin Herbert to the Super Bowl. So it should be a really fun one today, guys. We're going to be making some signings. We're going to be making some big moves and trying to stay under the cap to have a crazy good 2022 off season. Now, before we do get started, guys, question in the comments that you're free to answer at the end of the video. Is there anything that you would change from this strategy? Okay, of course, there's going to be a lot of things people maybe not agree with, but some tough decisions are going to have to be made. Now, before we do get started, guys, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this Chargers content. The small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, and bell notification helps me out a lot. Let's get into this one. Lights, camera, action. Director GM in the house. It's time for a shocking full offseason or free agency strategy for the 2022 Los Angeles Chargers. Let's jump right into this, man. There's a big concept I'm going to try and get across today, and we put together some awesome visuals to help get the point across here. So let's start things off with the plan, the master plan. You got Brandon Staley, you got Tom Telesco in the same room. How are we going to be approaching this offseason in which we boast $56.3 million to start things off, okay? Let's look at the concept of a strategy, okay? Some people say go big or go home. Those people are like me, okay? We got this window. Justin Herbert's contract is looming. I say the time to attack is now. But there's going to be other people that do argue that the Chargers have always been a very conservative team, and you're not going to be wrong there. All right. So what I'm proposing is that we find a middle ground. Okay. We've got to take more risks because we need to spend this cap space wisely. We got to take the money that we have so rarely. So many teams go decades without an opportunity like this. We need to make sure that we execute, and honestly, that we've got the cojones to go out there and spend some big money to bring in players that are going to make a difference. So we're going to try and find a middle ground here without mortgaging our future, but at the same time, bringing in a lot of big names to bolster this roster, get ready for the draft, get ready for training camp, and get ready for the 2022 season. So $56.3 million. Keep that number at the top of your minds, okay? We're going to start things off here with stage one. And stage one is going to be the unfortunate cuts, restructurings, re-signings, but cuts is going to be the biggest thing we're going to focus on here first. Brian Bulaga is going to be the first name on this video. Unfortunately, he would save the Chargers $10.75 million. Okay, I get it, Chargers fans. I don't think this comes as a shock to very many Bull fam because, again, he's just always hurt. In his time with the Chargers, I think he's only played like 5 or 6 games. The Chargers need consistency. I love Brian Bulaga as a talent, but we just cannot risk rolling out with Justin Herbert and maybe a right tackle. Storm Norton, again, if you guys take a look at that last game versus the Las Vegas Raiders, Storm Norton kind of got destroyed by Max Crosby and maybe also cost us a postseason appearance, okay? The cap savings are much too large to justify keeping him on the squad, and there are some pretty decent free agents available out there that you can replace him with, as well as in the draft if you want to go that route. So our first move is going to be cutting Brian Bulaga, saving $10.75 million. As far as cuts are concerned, I think that's going to be the biggest name you see on this list. I don't think the Chargers, part ways with any other really big players as far as cuts are concerned, but we will add some minor cuts in here to help the cap a little bit, okay? Joshua Kelly, unfortunately, man, I think the Chargers have been on the lookout for a solid running back, too, for I would say like half of last season. I don't think Joshua Kelly fits that mold. I think he's fumbled away his opportunity to play for this team going forward. Gabe Neighbors, who I do like as a player, BFFs with Justin Herbert, I just didn't see him utilized very much last season, which I do think why he's a cut candidate for me as well. And then Tavon Campbell, I think he more represents the Chargers' lack of depth at cornerback. And I don't want, as much as I would love to see Tavon Campbell take that leap and maybe provide some solid value for the Chargers, he was just more of a liability out there. So we're going to cut him as well, hopefully finding some better depth through the draft or in free agency. With all these cuts combined, you're saving about $2.75 million. Okay, guys? Now, with all those numbers kind of added up, the Chargers' new cap space figure is going to be $69.8 million. That is a crazy amount of money to go into the offseason with, but at the same time, we're not done. I think the Chargers are going to need a little bit more money to make this dream come true. And in order to do that, we do need to talk about restructures, okay? Now, before people go crazy, because not everybody's on board with the thought of a restructure, because again, you are honestly just kicking the can down the road. You're going to have to pay this money eventually. We're going to do a soft restructure here, okay? And for this particular demonstration, we're going to use Joey Bosa, which I think Joey Bosa makes the most sense if you're going to restructure anybody on the Los Angeles Chargers. And we're only going to restructure him, nobody else. We're not going to put the future of this team in jeopardy by doing too much too soon. Now, Joey Bosa's cap hit in 2022 is $28.25 million. Per over the cap, what we could do is prorate as much as $15 million of a salary cap of his salary to free up space right now. $15 million in 2022. That's very tempting. But again, I'm trying to find a middle ground here, okay? So we're not going to prorate the full amount of $15 million. We're going to split that in half, okay? We don't need to prorate more than that in order to make this strategy come true. We're going to prorate $7.5 million over 3 seasons. What this basically does is add $2.5 million in guarantees to Joey Bosa's contract over the next 3 years. That seems pretty manageable if you're a Chargers fan or not, right? I feel like that's a very solid and safe number to free up space today, right now. Now, the reason that we're not going to be restructuring Keenan Allen as well is because I think Joey Bosa is a much safer player to do this with. He's younger with a much lower chance of getting cut down the road. Not to say that I think Keenan Allen will ever leave the Bolts, but his decline due to his age is more likely than a Joey Bosa at this time. And let's be honest, Joey Bosa is not leaving the Chargers anytime soon. So very safe player to restructure and a very safe number to restructure in 2022. Very safe middle ground. That's what we're trying to accomplish right now. So this is going to bring the Chargers' new cap total to $77.3 million. With just a couple of moves, man. With just a couple of moves. Now, what are we going to do with this money? Okay, the Chargers, yes, we have a lot of cap, but we also have a lot of free agents that we have to bring back. That's our number one obligation as a team. Bring back what worked with the squad over into 2022. And it's going to take a lot of money, okay? But $77.3 million is a lot to work with, and it gives us a lot of room to do a lot of things. So the very first thing I'm doing this offseason with that money is re-signing Mike Williams, okay? There's going to be some tougher decisions coming down the road, but this one was a very easy one for me, okay? This is absolutely necessary. Keep Justin Herbert and Mike Williams together. It's something that we know works in this offense. We know Mike Williams is a big playmaker with Justin Herbert. We've got to keep these guys on the same field, okay? Because in the end, as you'll see in the second hyphen right there, there's no guarantee that we land a big name free agent or rookie wide receiver if we let Mike Williams walk. Sure, we can let him test the market a little bit and not extend him right away, but at the same time, you don't want to risk that. I would say absolutely give him a new contract, and don't tiptoe like it says there. Do not tiptoe with the tag, in my opinion. Give him a contract with the proper incentives, with the proper outs to completely, protect the Chargers just in case he does go down with injury, doesn't live up to the contract. There are, things that you can do in a contract to protect yourself from that. Just give him the full 4-year contract with those sorts of incentives, okay? So we're going to sign Mike Williams to a 4-year, $68 million contract. This is an average of $17 million per season with only a cap hit of $8.5 million this season. A quick explanation there. Most teams in the NFL backload contracts, okay? This is a very safe and real number of what the Chargers would do if they were to extend him this season. I actually used Keenan Allen's contract as a reference to what Mike Williams' cap hit in 2022 would be. Very realistic number right there. Let's give him the 4-year deal, make sure he comes back to the squad with a very, manageable cap hit in 2022, because, again, this is a window of opportunity we're talking about. So welcome back, Big Mike. Hugely, hugely important re-signing in my opinion. Next up, in terms of re-signing, this is another big one for me, Kizer White. Now, again, I've heard the rumors, okay? There's rumors circulating that he may not return with the Chargers this season. I'm hoping that's all smoke. It would be absolutely foolish to let him go at this time, okay? Kizer White absolutely excelled in Staley's scheme, okay? I would say he was the most improved Charger in 2022, period. And to let him walk right now, that would be a mistake, okay? Especially because he would not be that expensive. I looked at tons of references trying to find a solid number for Kizer White, and this is what I came up with. 3-year, $18.75 million, an average of $6.25 million a season, with only a cap hit of $4 million in 2022. How would we possibly think about replacing the kind of production he gave us on a cheaper contract? The answer is you can't. So Kizer White must be a priority re-signing this offseason, and I think it would be very, very foolish to let him go. Again, we're hearing rumors, but again, I'm hoping that it's all smoke. Next up, we've got Oday Aboushi, right guard for the Chargers. And again, this one was also a no-brainer to me, okay? He's projected to be cheap. You guys will see that number at the top of the screen. $1.5 million, okay? I know injury is a concern, but if something were to happen, it's $1.5 million on the line. In terms of an NFL, cap hit, that is not too bad at all. The Chargers do more than likely look for some more help in the NFL draft as well, but we know what Oday Aboushi is. We know what he brought to the team last season before his injury. I think it's definitely worth the risk going back, bringing him back to the team, because, if he can stay on the field, that is a fantastic value. Oday Aboushi, definitely the kind of guy I want to see back with the Bolts. Next up, Donald Parham. Now, again, a lot of people might not even know he was a free agent. Well, he is a exclusive rights free agent, okay, which means that we can tender him for under $900,000. To me, that's a great deal. Donald Parham, man, you don't see these measurables every day at tight end, all right? He looked great before the injury, but he's, 6'7", 6'8". He's got crazy speed for his size. Just pairing up with Justin Herbert, he's a fantastic weapon for this offense. I was actually talking about him being the Chargers' eventual tight end 1 this last season before his injury. I think it might take a little bit more time, but I do want to say I do want to see him stay on this team going forward. Very cheap contract, no reason to let him walk. Then speaking of restricted free agents, we got Jalen Guyton as well. Again, under $900,000, no-brainer to me. He's the only current speed option the Chargers have on this team. Back in 2020 in Justin Herbert's rookie season, him and Tyron Johnson paired up very, very well. I think Jalen Guyton definitely part of that formula. Let's bring in another speed wide receiver on that cheap contract too with Jalen Guyton. It all kind of makes sense. Make sure he comes back, and let's get back to those days of airing out, with Justin Herbert a little bit, trying to get over top that coverage, because I think he's got one of those rare arms in the NFL. Jalen Guyton's part of the piece of that puzzle in order to make that happen. All right. And lastly, I know there's more names that you guys are probably thinking about right now. Lastly, I do have special teams. Okay, we got Andre Roberts and Dustin Hopkins. Combined cap hit of about $4.5 million. I don't know if I said here too. Yeah, we did. Okay. $4.5 million for these two guys. Definitely not too expensive. These were great mid-season signings. Roberts has been one of the best kick returners we've had in a long time. Dustin Hopkins has been one of the more consistent kickers we've had in a long time. No reason to see these guys leave the team either, okay? And they are cheaper deals too, okay? Now, This is the part of the video where I see the comments and they're like, director, what about this guy and what about that guy? This was part of the tough decisions that we talked about at the top of the video, okay? In order to make drastic change, there's going to be some tough decisions ahead, okay? So some notable walks for the Chargers. These are the free agents that the Chargers elected not to bring back. Starting with Uchenna Nwosu. All right. This one was super tough. Okay, I'm not going to say, oh, I don't want Uchenna Nwosu on the team. I absolutely want him back on the team. And if we bring him back, I'm going to be super excited. But in my opinion, I believe that the Chargers may only choose one player to bring back in terms of Mike Williams and Uchenna Nwosu. Okay, Uchenna Nwosu is such a solid player. Wherever he goes, he's going to have a fantastic career. But ultimately, I feel like the Chargers would keep Mike Williams over him, and that's why I made that decision. Okay, so Uchenna Nwosu, tough, heartbreaking decision there. As for Linval Joseph and Justin Jones, Linval's a bit older, so that one kind of made sense to me, but Justin Jones was also another tough decision. He was one of the only good defensive linemen on this team last year versus the run. But ultimately, Staley said that he wants a full overhaul, and we're going to give it to him, okay? Chris Harris Jr., his best days are behind him. Chargers need a new slot corner. That one's not too crazy. Now, this is going to bring the Chargers' new cap total after bringing back all these players, including Mike Williams, to $57 million. $57 million is a crazy amount of money after bringing back, your best free agents. That is going to be huge, okay? So that's a lot of money to spend. And now we get into the fun part of this video. This is where the fun begins. Free agency, $57 million, incredible amount of cap. Now, as a reminder, with these signings that we made as far as re-signings, we still do need interior defensive line, right tackle, edge, corner, tight end, and wide receiver. And as a reminder for everybody, we're going to need some money left over and put aside for the draft as well as in-season spending, okay? Emergency funds like we saw with the signings of Andre Roberts and Dustin Hopkins, okay? But the bottom line is, to put that out of your mind for right now, we'll add that to the total at the end. The bottom line is this is the most cap that I've ever seen. Justin Herbert's contract is around the corner. Now is the time to attack and get this team loaded with pieces to make a postseason appearance in 2022, all right? So let's get into free agency. It should be a good one, man. If I was the GM, the director GM is in the house, what is the first move I'm making, after re-signing our guys? We're going into, those outside free agents. What is the first move I'm making? Well, I'll tell you right here, it's Sebastian Joseph Day. I think this is going to be very similar to a lot of other Chargers fans, man. This is a move that absolutely has to happen. My first move, without a doubt. Because Joseph Day, in my opinion, is the perfect upgrade over Linval Joseph. Linval was a good player last season. A lot, including myself, would say Sebastian Joseph Day is an upgrade. Only 27 years old, young. He's got the size, 6'4", 310 pounds, beast in the middle of the line. Right? He frees up the Chargers' day one pick as well. I have on there. So the Chargers going into the draft, defensive tackle is going to be the biggest need, so we wouldn't have to reach, right? Let's say if Jordan Davis got selected before us. Oh, no, we have to reach for the next defensive tackle. No, it offers some flexibility there, okay? Huge chemistry with Brandon Staley. Of course, we know that him and Brandon Staley have history with the Los Angeles Rams. This is just a move that makes too much sense not to be in this video, and he's going to be the very first move I make in free agency. We're going to give him a 3-year, $24 million contract, an average of just $8 million a season with a cap hit of $6 million in 2022. Great deal, great player, and he's going to add exactly what the Chargers need in terms of improving our run defense. Sebastian Joseph Day, my first signing. Next up, dudes. This next one might make some Chargers fans giddy, okay? Because this next guy is a big signing. He's going to make a big impact with this team. My second free agent that I'm signing in 2022 is Haason Reddick, okay? And I'll be honest, okay? It was between Von Miller, Reddick, Chandler Jones, and Jadeveon Clowney for me. And the only reason I'm saying this is because I want to display that there are options. If Haason Reddick isn't available, there's some other names out there that would definitely fit what the Chargers are trying to do while staying under the cap, okay? But in this instance, my favorite between all these guys, I don't think Von Miller is going to be available. My favorite is going to be Haason Reddick, okay? Now, ultimately, I landed on Reddick because, again, double-digit sacks over the last 2 seasons. 23.5 sacks over the last 2 seasons combined. That is very, very good. You can almost say that he's found his footing as a pass rusher over the last 2 years. What I see there is value. If he was on the Carolina Panthers for another 2 seasons and he continues to put up double-digit sacks, this kind of contract isn't possible. Okay, so I want to scoop him up right now and put him in a system where he's going to continue to find success and be a value for the Chargers. Okay? Another very underrated aspect of his game is that he's a capable run defender too. If you're the Chargers, you're taking as much help as you possibly can at every position on the field to help your run defense. That is a great add-on for a guy like Haason Reddick. He's a versatile scheme fit, right? He's definitely more than capable than lining up at, 3-4 outside linebacker / edge, Brandon Staley. That is absolutely fantastic. And then the cherry on top, the thought of him lined up opposite Joey Bosa. Oh, this could be one of the most lethal pass rushing units in the NFL. And it would last for a while. Only 27 years old. Joey Bosa is what, 26, 27 as well? These guys could play together for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Who knows? This is a great signing, a long-term answer, and one that I think fits this team's needs perfectly. Haason Reddick, one of my big free agent signings this season. We're going to give him a 3-year, $42 million contract, an average of $14 million a season, but with only a cap hit of $8 million in 2022. This is a slam dunk in my opinion. Haason Reddick has to be the man to LA. Now, next up, in terms of continuing to beef up that defensive line in order to help that run defense, we've got Akeem Hicks. We've talked about Akeem Hicks for a long time, right? You guys know the drill. A beast run defender, absolutely. And honestly, when I was looking through the free agents, I felt there was maybe some younger options with maybe less of an injury history that I could pick. But there are rumors swirling around the NFL right now that Hicks is more than likely going to move to LA with the Bolts, reunite with Brandon Staley. And I think, honestly, it's not a bad move. Again, he is older. Recent injury history is a concern. But overall, it's a great fit for this team in what we need. Okay? He's spectacular in run defense, but also he's more than capable of generating pressure from the interior as well. Great fit. And honestly, it's something that I think is going to happen at this point. The rumors are they're swirling about, and I do think Akeem Hicks is a Los Angeles Charger in 2022. That's a great move in order to help your run defense right there. We're going to give him a 2-year, $11.5 million contract, average of $5.75 million a season, with only a cap hit of $5 million in 2022. Big signing right there. Big boy up the middle. He's going to help a lot. And in terms of what his role would be, Sebastian Joseph Day is your nose tackle. Akeem Hicks would be more of a 3/4 defensive end, right? And that's where he's graded his best throughout his career. Now, next up, this name, dudes, not in a million years would you guess what I'm about to put on the screen right now, okay? I'll give you guys a hint. The Chargers need a tight end. Okay, but in terms of tight end right now, who could we be looking at? What makes sense for right now for the Chargers? Well, I'm going to go ahead and say Rob Gronkowski. Some of you guys probably thinking, Director, what? You're crazy. Rob Gronkowski to the Chargers? Hear me out, okay? Rob Gronkowski, there's a reason why this makes sense, and there's a reason why it's actually, possible to happen this offseason. Now, I'll be honest in saying it was heavily between David Njoku and Rob Gronkowski for two separate reasons for me, okay? But just before filming this video, I saw a tweet stating that Cleveland more than likely brings Njoku back into the fold, okay? So Njoku may not be on the table. So let's go with my other plan here, Rob Gronkowski. This is such a solid short-term weapon for Justin Herbert. Because Gronk, I know people are going to say he's a little older, 32 years old. Tight ends age a little bit differently, but maybe with his injury history, it kind of evens out. Whatever. Gronk has had a fantastic couple of seasons in the NFL with Tom Brady. You bring him into LA with Justin Herbert, some good things are going to happen. This is more than just name value for me, okay? I'm looking at Gronk as to what he's produced in Tampa Bay the last couple of seasons as a player. This is a solid move for the team and a big upgrade over Jared Cook. Okay? Rob Gronkowski also offers something we haven't seen on this team for a few seasons now. Elite run blocking off the edge. Gronk is one of the better tight ends in the league when it comes to offering additional help on that line. That's going to help the Chargers' run game. That's going to help the Chargers' pass protection when needed. Gronk, definitely well-rounded in those aspects. Now, there's a big reason why I think this is maybe likely to happen, okay? It says following Brady to LA. The reason I put that in there is that Brady and Gronk are connected at the hip, right? Brady, if you guys didn't know, is setting up shop in Los Angeles to produce his new movie, 80 for Brady. Okay, he's going to be playing himself. It's about him versus the Atlanta Falcons in that Super Bowl. He's making it with Paramount Pictures, and he's setting up shop in Los Angeles. Maybe Gronk would want to tag along, but we also know that he still wants to play. What's a great fit for that? Come play for the Los Angeles Chargers. Be within spitting distance of Paramount Studios and your big buddy, Tom Brady out there too, right? I love it, man. Doesn't break the bank either. There is a slight injury concern, but I think, again, the big reason right that I failed to mention is it gives Donald Parham more time to develop, okay? 1-year deal for Gronk. I love it short term. I love it way more than I did Jared Cook short term, and it gives Justin Herbert some elite help there as far as a possession tight end. We're going to give him a 1-year, $7 million contract. Very simple, $7 million cap hit. I think this would be an awesome signing for the Chargers. Short term, that makes a lot of sense for this team. Rob Gronkowski, that would be a lot of fun. I like it a lot. Now, this next signing here, dudes, this is one of my guys. Okay, when it comes to my guys, it's people that I've paid close attention to, done a lot of research on, that I think is a slam dunk for the Los Angeles Chargers. And we're going to be addressing the position of cornerback now in free agency. We're going to be going after DJ Reed Jr. Some people don't like this move, and it absolutely boggles my mind as to why. This is a huge value for the Chargers. Brandon Staley finally gets his own Darius Williams. We'll put those in the first two right there, right? Finally gets his own Darius Williams. If you guys remember, Brandon Staley and Darius Williams, he turned Darius Williams into a top 5 cornerback in the NFL, and they share very similar traits, him and DJ Reed. But I think DJ Reed is better, man. This guy has been improving the last 3 seasons, raising the bar. I think he's a fantastic value. The reason people don't want him, he's only 5'9". I get that. That is a concern. In today's NFL, you want a 6'1", 6'2" guy with the speed and the coverage. You're not always going to get that. But what DJ Reed does offer, a zone specialist who can also play man. He's perfect, he's perfect to play in the slot or on the outside. So in terms of what do we do with Mike Davis? Do we trust him? You don't have to run Mike Davis unless you need that slot cornerback on the field as well. And Mike Davis, I think he could hold his own with an improved pass rush. This is such an underrated signing in my opinion, man. I think, honestly, his size may concern people, but trust me, this is the guy the Chargers want to go after this offseason. He fits the mold so perfectly. He fits what the Chargers are doing, and Brandon Staley has turned almost a clone of him and Darius Williams into a superstar. The moment Brandon Staley left Los Angeles Rams, Darius Williams fell off. That's why I think DJ Reed is such a great value pick. We're going to give him a 3-year, $24 million contract, an average of $8 million a season. Very good value, in my opinion, with only a cap hit of $6 million in 2022. This is another slam dunk, in my opinion. Chargers need cornerbacks. Okay, they may go get more cornerbacks in the draft, but we also need depth very, very badly. So I think at minimum, you've got to sign at least one guy like DJ Reed this offseason. He's my guy, though. This is where we're going to pick up in my video today. All right, the last couple who are coming up here, dudes. We've got Morgan Moses. Now, of course, the Chargers needed improvement on that offensive line. We let go of Brian Bulaga. It's time to bring in his replacement. Morgan Moses, solid player. Very durable right tackle. When I say durable, this is the perfect mold of what you want. A guy that stays on the field. The complete opposite of Brian Bulaga. Now, Morgan Moses is not the best right tackle in the league, but he's miles above Storm Norton, and he's going to stay on the field. Okay? He's older, doesn't break the bank. I think it's a solid move. I think it's a no-brainer move. If you're going to be letting go of Brian Bulaga, you can bring in Morgan Moses for what? 2 years, $15.4 million, an average of $7.7 million a season, with only a cap hit of $5 million this year. $5 million. That's a solid answer right there. I'm going to name one more player. This is not a splashy player, but it's one that I think needs to be mentioned in this video, okay? My last player here is going to be Dennis Kelly. 32 years old. We're going to give him a 1-year, $1.5 million contract. Very, very simple, okay? I wasn't going to close this video out without signing a quality swing tackle. Okay, some would argue that Dennis Kelly could be the guy that we call upon to play right tackle, our starting right tackle this season. Honestly, I wouldn't be too upset about it, right? He's a very, very good pass protector, right? He's got good pass protection, and he can play multiple positions. All right? In today's NFL, in the COVID era of the NFL, you have to have a quality backup on your squad, period, especially one as versatile as Dennis Kelly. He fits the mold beautifully. a quality pass protector who can move to several spots in the line, this is a great add. So the biggest reason why he's in this video is because depth is super, super important at the offensive line, and Dennis Kelly's going to be one of the best values you're going to find in free agency to pick up this year. He's probably a little cheaper because of his age. I don't care. He fits in so many different positions on the offensive line. He's definitely worth the investment. All right, dudes. Those are my big names. What do you guys think so far? Like, give me a rating out of like 1 out of 10. What do you guys think about my personal signings for the Chargers this season? All right. This leaves us with a total leftover cap of $18.5 million. All right. So all those guys, Gronk, DJ Reed, Akeem Hicks, Hasten Reddick, Sebastian Joseph Day, all those guys clumped together, you're going to spend about $38.5 million with these signings this year. That's not too bad. Right? Now, as I mentioned at the top of the video, we still also need to put aside around $12.5 million. Okay, I think it's somewhere between $10 and $14 million. We're going to cut that in half and put it at $12.5 million. Okay? That still leaves us with $6 million for depth. And these contracts, when you're talking about depth, these contracts are more in the range of thousands rather than millions. So you will definitely be able to address depth on your squad with $6 million. It's actually enough money where you could still maybe add another guy or two that's notable, right? That's notable. I don't know, man. It just seems like the numbers absolutely work out to me. Now, here it comes, dudes. The Chargers got all the money in the world. We were able to fit all these guys in under the cap. We got plenty of money left over for the draft, for in-season emergency spending. We got $6 million on top of that to go handle some depth signings. What is the team looking like? Well, here it is, guys. The big epic reveal. The epic reveal. Here is your Los Angeles Chargers offense in 2022 with these signings. I'm going to turn off my face cam here for a second. Rashawn Slater on your offensive line. Rashawn Slater, Matt Filer, Corey Linsley, Oday Aboushi, Morgan Moses with a quality swing tackle in Dennis Kelly, who could play guard. That is a solid offensive line. You got Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler. Looks good. Under Eckler, it says rookie running back and Larry Roundtree. Of course, I would love to go out there and get a Darrell Williams, but we're trying to, address the biggest positions of need first. At wide receiver, Keenan Allen, Josh Palmer, Mike Williams. The gang's back together. We got Jalen Guyton and a rookie speed wide receiver. That's great, man. What's his name? Calvin Austin, right? Calvin Austin, one of those guys I got my eye on in the draft. He could definitely be another speed option to bring in there with Jalen Guyton. We got ourselves Rob Gronkowski at tight end with Donald Parham and Trey McKitty. That is one mean-looking offense, and that is definitely not where we spent most of our resources in free agency this offseason. That is mean. That is mean. And this is before the draft. We're going to get more reinforcements. Let's take a look at the defense. Turn off the face cam again. Look at this defense, dude. Oh my goodness. Maybe we'll turn this off for a second too. Look at this. We got Mike Davis, Asante Samuel Jr., DJ Reed Jr. with maybe a rookie quarterback, and John Brennan out there at cornerback. Looks very solid. You got Nass. You got Derwin James. Looking really good. You got Drew Tranquil, Kizer White, and Kenneth Murray, who I do still think stays with the team. And at the bottom there, actually turn this off too. You got Hasten Reddick. Maybe we draft another rookie edge. Who knows? Hasten Reddick. Jerry Tillery. Maybe we could sign another guy with that $6 million we had left over. Sebastian Joseph Day, Akeem Hicks, and Joey Bosa. Oh my goodness. This team just came together. And this is before the draft. The Chargers, with 11 draft picks, will be able to address a lot of depth this season. You know what? Honestly, my plan, if I were the Chargers GM, my plan would be use those draft picks as ammunition to move up in the draft. I considered, maybe using some of those draft picks to go out there and trade for a difference maker too, but I think those draft picks would be better used on draft day as ammunition if necessary to move up and get your guy. That's huge. That's huge. So some of the remaining needs. We were able to address most of the needs in this video just through free agency, right? The draft, still you add more resources to that, but there's still a few that remain, okay? We could use more interior defensive line depth or replace a guy like Jerry Tillery, right? We still need another speed corner, to pair up with Jalen Guyton. We already talked about Calvin Austin, maybe in the second or third. That makes sense to me. Tight end could use a boost too. Maybe at some point you could draft, the replacement for Gronk at some point, someone to pair up with Donald Parham in the future. But Gronk is a great piece to add this season. And then corner will still be an emphasis for me as well. And I think there's going to be some solid options in round one. So here's my bottom line, dudes. This free agency could be the biggest that we've seen in decades for Chargers fans. Okay, this is like, we're not blowing smoke here. The amount of money we're seeing right now with the quarterback play we have right now, the coach that we have right now, teams wish for decades that they get this opportunity. It's right in front of us. We ran the numbers together. It all fits like a puzzle. This is the result of it. This is without leveraging too much as well in terms of restructures either. We're talking, what, $2.5 million per season over the next 3 years added for Joey Bosa, which, let's be honest, he's not going anywhere. That makes so much sense to me. Moves like this set up the Chargers for immediate success. And honestly, the most exciting part for me is the fact that this is all taking place before the draft. Imagine a cornerback core consisting of ASJ, Reed, and McDuffie, or a defensive line held down by Hicks, Joseph Day, and Jordan Davis. This opens up a tremendous amount of flexibility for the Bolts on draft day. These opportunities, guys, again, they're far and few between. This is the most cap I've ever seen as a Chargers fan by far in my life. And with the window that's closing in just a few seasons with Herbert's contract looming, my fangs are out, man. The claws are out. It's time to make some serious moves to make a push right now. And like we demonstrated in this video, you don't need to mortgage your future in order to make that happen. I can say without a doubt, if the Chargers execute something even remotely similar to what we've laid out, we're instant Super Bowl contenders. And honestly, we're a serious threat for several years. But we've got to break the trends this year, okay? Spend big, spend smart, and be brave, because your window is closing. All right? So, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. What do you guys think of my bold 2022 free agent strategy here? Is there anything you guys would do a little bit different? I think this is a very solid looking squad. I think we're going to win a lot of games with this squad. And again, this is even before the draft. Let me know if you guys would have done anything different. I know some guys really want Devontae Adams, JC Jackson. I think those guys definitely, if we really want them, we can get them. But we're going to have to make sacrifices at other positions, which I think in terms of a complete team, this is more in terms of what I'm looking for. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. If you did enjoy this content, hit us up with a like and sub on your way out. Well, guys, see you next time. And as always, bolt up and stay frosty. Rob Gronkowski.